Welcome to Kidmissing TV. I am your host, Angelina Wilson. What was that? This is the case of a pair of sisters who were murdered. They were Mary and Suzanne. I don't know if it's Raker or Riker. Raker or Reker. It's Reker. This is Minnesota. Mary was 15 and Suzanne was 12. They were from St. Cloud, Minnesota. Labor Day, 1974. Oh, I couldn't have planned this better. Oh my goodness. They went to Zayre's shopping center. Zayre's. For those of you not as old as I am, I was born in 1974, a month before they disappeared. Zayre's was a department store way back in the day. Went out of business a zillion years ago. It's spelled Zayre apostrophe S. Now, why does this say the last sighting was at the convenience store at 1:30? Zayre's was not a convenience store. On September 28th, two teenagers found their bodies, obviously decomposing, in the grass of a salt quarry at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They were found. It's absolutely horrible. This doesn't make any sense. It says there, Suzanne's body was in the grass of a salt quarry at 2 p.m. Mary was found 40 feet below the surface of the water, having been thrown off the side of the quarry. She was found at 6 p.m. Suzanne had been stabbed 12 to 13 times, and Mary had been stabbed 5 to 6 times. Mary was unclothed, and her clothes had been thrown into the water after her. This sounds to me like maybe for whatever reason Suzanne was the target. Or no, even though she was stabbed more, I don't think she was, because Mary was thrown into the water. She was stripped of her clothing. I think she was the target. In 2018, their mother, Rita, confronted a man who was a person of interest in the case, or a possible suspect, on his deathbed. He was in St. Cloud Hospital for liver failure following years of alcohol abuse. His name was Herb Notch. He was 17 at the time, and he had recently at that time been arrested after kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. Now this gives the name. I will not give her name in case she's alive, because she's very, very well could be, who worked at a convenience store in St. Cloud. And it was him and another boy, which makes sense because there were two sisters, and he stabbed her and left her for dead. His accomplice gave an anonymous interview with um, the local TV station, Channel 9, which is a Fox channel, in the 80s, and he said, quote, "The guy was hissing like a snake and talking about he wants to kill everybody." I think there's some grammar missing there, but end quote. He had absolutely zero remorse. um, a friend of Notch, Russ Platts, was working with Notch at the Zare Shopping Center. When they say Zare Shopping Center, it's like a strip mall. This is a Zare store and other stores in it. But they're not, it's not a mall in that sense. And this man, Russ Platts, Platz, and he was also one of the teenagers who found the bodies. And he remembered that Notch used to sit in the parking lot of Zare on his days off, staring at passerby. So, at passers-by, I should say. Platts eventually asked him about it, and he said, "Herb, do you know anything about this?" And he just said, "Hiss. What are you, a snake, dude?" And that was the only response that he got from him. He did tell police this, and in 2018, the police said, "Yes, we have that report." Notch is also linked with two other murders in the 80s and 90s. He was given a psychological evaluation completed sometime after he was sentenced that described him as, here's a direct quote, "a very dangerous person, in the right situation, a homicidal individual." He claims to have passed a polygraph in the case, and police said, well, no, they were inconclusive. I have to give the mother credit for a lot of credit for confronting him. He said, "I give you my word I didn't do it." Your word's not worth much. And he asked her why she couldn't just get over it. Because her two daughters were stabbed to death. One of them may have been sexually assaulted and thrown off a cliff into 40 feet of water. And he said, "I'm going to hell." Unfortunately, there's no physical evidence linking him to the case. In 2014, another victim of an intimate assault, again, I'm not going to name her, she was assaulted in the same quarry by a man identifying himself as Lloyd, who was a carny. Um, he got her there by asking what was I going to say? Because he asked her where a good swimming hole was, and then he proceeded to assault her. Well, 40 years later, the unknown assailant was identified as, you guessed it, Lloyd Welch, the suspect in the Lyons sisters case. Um, and the mom worked for Tri-County Crime Stoppers after, but she is now retired. And they believe the murderer had an accomplice because, probably because there were two victims, which makes sense. Whoa! Um, and the family thinks they know who the killer was, someone that the police had pointed to early on. Mary made a horrifying diary entry. Should I die, I ask that my stuffed animals be given to, and they redacted the name, it just says my sister, so it must have been a younger sister. And if I am murdered, see that justice wins over. I have a few reasons to fear for my life. What I ask is important. End quote. What? WTF? Um, why would a 15-year-old, blah. Okay, to this day, there is a $50,000 reward for anyone with information on the murders of the Rieger sisters. Please contact Stearns County Sheriff's Office at 320-251-4240. That's 320-251-4240. Or the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Cold Case Homicide Unit. That's a mouthful. 1-888-234-3692. That's 1-888-234-3692. And I just want to repeat the Sheriff's Office number, 320-251-4240. 4240. I find it interesting that Lloyd Welch was in the area, and we know that he had help because of his nephew. I mean, I don't understand why they're using the names of victims of intimate assault. We have what are called rape shield laws in this country, which protect victims of intimate assault. But it is possible that these women gave permission, like, had come forward and allowed their names to be used in media. So, Um, so yeah, I think both of those men are great suspects, and both had a known accomplice. So let me know what you think. Um, and just as a reminder, because we were talking about the Lion sisters, as soon as I get to their book, because I'm kind of reading two books right now, one on my tablet and one's a physical book. The next one will be their book. Um, what was I gonna say? Once I finish that, I will be doing an updated video on the Lion sisters. It's a case that I've done on its own and one that I did on my TV show as well, um, which is below. It's missing in groups or pairs. Well, he just wrote missing in pairs. It was supposed to be missing in groups or pairs, but it got shortened. um, so anyway, we are super close to 500 subscribers. Thank you so much for that. And I really want to reach that goal. I wanted to reach that goal by today, but we'll have to push it. Let's say Halloween. We can do this. Um, yeah, I had forgotten that this case took place on Labor Day, so it was perfect that I made it the first case. Happy accidents, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless you, and I will see you Wednesday. Bye, guys.